Hello, we are going to run you through how to make the new gathered face mask tutorial that the Masked Sewist came out with. This one's going to give us a lot of options so that whatever you have at home, we should be able to get something made. So we are going to start with a 10 wide by 16 inch tall rectangle. This is your main mask piece. You're going to fold it right sides together, leaving the raw edges on the top. This is going to be the top of your mask. And we're going to sew down each side first off. Just a 1/4 inch seam allowance like you normally would. Flipping it over to do the other side here. Just trimming our edges. Then we're going to take it and we are going to just right side out it. Easier said than done. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but just kind of get your fingertips into the corners and get them squared off the best you can. Again, we're going to keep the raw edges to the top, and we are going to go ahead and fold that down twice now to create a pocket for our nose piece, the optional nose piece. So a 1/2 inch the first time, 1/2 inch the second time. If you want to press this, you're certainly welcome to, but if you know me by now, I try to avoid the iron whenever I can. I like to clip. If you prefer to pin, go right ahead. And then we're going to do a 1/8 of an inch seam right here to enclose this little pocket. So now we have our little channel at the top for our nose piece. You can use either I can't even think of what the word it says. What is that called? This is a piece of sheet metal that we had cut from the steel workers, or you can use a pipe cleaner, that's the word. A pipe cleaner folded to 5 inches wide. I just folded it in and twisted it so that the pointy ends are kind of buried. Otherwise you can pick these up from our drop sites, and we're just going to feed it right into this little pocket here. And it takes just a little bit of wiggling around to get it snugged into the middle. There we go. So once you get it to the middle-ish, and it can scoot around a little bit, I give it a bend so I know that that's still the top and I know where I'm working. Next we're going to create the channels on the side. This is where you're going to put either your elastic or your binding tie, whichever option you have available to you. I'm going to fold it over by about 1 inch. Again, clip, or pin if you prefer. If you want to iron it, you're welcome to. And this time we are going to sew 1/8 of an inch seam allowance right here, just to totally encase it. It's going to get a little thick here. You may need to feed your first stitch or two by hand. Spin it around, and I'll do the other side real quick. Trimming any strings. And you've already got the base of your mask done. Wasn't that beautiful? No gathering at all. So you've got 2 channels here on the sides, and you can either take elastic or do a binding tie option. I'll show you how to do the binding real quick. So if you got a 3D printed binding tape maker, this will go pretty quick. The strip is 1.5 inches wide by 60 inches long, and I'm going to go ahead and just feed it right through. You can get it started here. This is one of the only times you'll see me use a pin. I use that to kind of just drag it through and get it started. And again, if you want to take this to your ironing board and press it, be my guest, but it is not a very critical dimension, so I'm just going to hand fold it there. and start sewing. And then I can pull it back as I go and just kind of pinch and sew. Pull it back, pinch, and sew. You'll see that I've got a join here. 60 inches long is a little bit wider than most cuts of fabric, so if you don't have a 60-inch length, you can just butt two pieces up right next to each other and do a straight line. You don't have to do it like you would actual bias binding or in quilting. So pull it back, pinch, and sew. In the interest of saving time in the video, I'm just going to finish it off there, but you would do the same thing along your entire length. And then you are left with your very final option to make. So you can either feed your bias binding through your channels, starting at the top, coming down and around, so that it would end up like this at the very end. So your nose piece is here and you'll have your loose ties coming out the top. Or we're going to do elastic. And when you're feeding it through the channels, most people are going to use probably a safety pin on the end and to feed it through. You could use a tweezers and grab it through. I'm going to show you another one of my favorite tools. It's a hemostat. Not intentionally, its first purpose was not sewing, but it's one of my favorite tools for like turning tubes and getting through tight spaces. So I can just shove it all the way through, open it up, grab the elastic end, and be done with it. For this option, we are just going to knot our elastic. This will give the end user a little bit of flexibility. If they're using an ear saver, they might want to keep the elastic on the longer side. If they don't have that and they need a snugger fit, you can pull it a little tighter. So then you don't want to leave your knot loose or showing. You don't want to leave your strings out. You can just twist it in here for a clean finish. But again, still have that option for the end user to modify it if they need to. There we go. And when you go to put it on your face, it automatically is just going to gather at the sides instead of dealing with all the pleating. This gives a lot more flexibility too to our men in the group, or our men out in the world who are having beards, and there were some complaints that the pleats were hard to cover facial hair as well. So that is it for today. Give me a shout. Drop comments if you have them, send me a message. I'm happy to walk you through this one, but I hope that it'll clear up some of the frustrations that people have been having with supplies and pleats and techniques and stuff. So happy sewing. Thanks for what you're doing.